Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Royal with Paternity University. Today I have Mr. Rafaniel Jimerson out of California, right? California, West Coast.
Sir,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Rafaniel here is the owner of a notary signing agency, a nationwide notary signing agency. He owns this service business that's needed. People always need notary services, and I just want to talk to him about the similarities and differences between a notary business and a paternity testing business. It's in the same service industry, but there's similarities and differences between how things are run. But first, I want to get your background, Rafani, man. Where you from? You're from Cali, but where in Cali are you from, and how did you get started in the notary business?
first things first, appreciate you, brother, for having me on today. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to be on. But yeah, Rafaniel Jimerson, born and raised in California, originally from the Bay Area. Been out there all my life, and then now I'm out here in Central Valley. It's about an hour away from the Bay. So I've been out here for the last 10 years or so. Quick story how I got into the business. So originally I was supposed to get into the criminal justice field, right? So I was supposed to, my stepdad was in prison. And so he used to always call home and talk about, man, you should look into being working in corrections because these guys don't do nothing. I was like, bet, sign me up. So I ended up going to school for that process, got an A degree, thinking I was going to either work in the jails or work in probation or parole. So it didn't end up working out in my favor. So I ended up doing security. I worked in security for about 6 years or so. And so in my last year, I used to work, it's a brother who I used to work under, he was a security supervisor. And where I was working at, we had all these different departments, whether it was maintenance, engineering, security, whatever it was, you name it. But for some reason, all the tasks or like all the responsibilities in regards to make sure everything was on point, they would place those responsibilities on him, even though he had his own staff and team that he had to work with, which is security. And so when he started to fall behind those tasks, they started to put his job at risk. And, it was really like giving him a hard time, despite the fact, again, he has his own department that he had to run, but they was giving him a hard time pretty much. So I was like, all right, if they putting his job at risk, I could pretty much see the writing on the wall. It's only a matter of time before they get to me. So for right then and there, I was trying to figure out, all right, what's my exit strategy so I can pretty much get out of here. So I was going to figure out, I said, all right, let me start with what I know. Maybe I'll start a business as a private security guard because that's pretty much what I knew. When I found out how much capital I would need to get started, which I didn't have at that time, I was like, nah, I'm a pivot. I'm gonna end up doing something else because I just don't have it. So I know my mom was commissioned as a notary. She's been working with the government for over 20 years or so. I don't know if she notarized anyone's documents, but I knew it was a business that I could start. So I'll never forget. I was working graveyard. I was doing some research. Went on Google. I was like, let me see how much an independent notary happens to make. Now I don't know how verified the source was, right? It said 50,000 a year independently, and I think at the time I was probably doing around 40 to 42,000. So I was like, well, I knew at its core, only thing I would need to do is just get a stamp, sign it, and put my stamp on the document, and then I can get, and then that's it. So I was like, all right, I know at its core I can probably do that. So from there, I made a decision like, I'm gonna go ahead and run with this. Signed up for the class. I think like a week later, right after my shift, I went over to the I think it was like to the title company. Well, the title company owned this building, and I did the 8 hour training there. Right after the 8 hour training of that day, I took the exam, and then 2 weeks later, I found out I passed, and I've been doing this ever since.
How long have you been doing this for? A couple of years now?
It was I would say in October it'll be 5 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
dope.
October 5 years. Yep.
You just been getting it out the mud for 5 years pretty much, and then and have now expanded basically to a nationwide notary signing agency. How did you go from doing it yourself to now outsourcing a lot of the work?
So when I got to this point, it's a lot. It's a lot of in between stuff that's happened within
Yeah.
this 5 year time frame, right? So when I first got into the business, I'm thinking I'm finna, instantly 6 figure business. I'm thinking I'm finna have so all these clients come my way. I just say, hey, I'm a notary, the business gonna come my way, right? But it initially didn't work like that. So it took me a while to get things cooking. And then because it took a while for me to get things cooking, I got a little discouraged. So I started venturing off into other things, whether it was reselling on eBay or Amazon. Was in financial services for a while, driving Uber, doing Lyft. But the notary business was still consistent throughout this time frame. But I wasn't like over the years, the business was starting to, gradually get better. right? So what ended up happening was uh, I decided to just go full all in with the notary business because then after the refining, I think in 2020, the pandemic happened, interest rates was just crazy, right? We're talking about between 1.9 to
Yeah.
2%. And so I was getting a lot of loan signings that was coming through the door. So I was like, all right, well, I'm starting to see some gradual changes in my business, and I'm going to continue. I'm just going to go all in with this, right? And so when I decided to go all in with that, then that's why I start. That's why I started to see some success in the business, started to build more relationships, and so how I ended up transitioning from being local to nationwide was I had a loan officer that I had a relationship with, who I was doing a lot of loan closings for, and I pretty much let her know, it's like, hey, my commission was already set to expire, but I had to wait till the month of to renew it. Right. So I ended up reaching out to her, just let her know, like, hey, my commission is set to expire. I could definitely get your document signed and notarized. I have a couple of notaries that I know. That same week, she needed a notary for an assignment. I ended up hiring a notary for that signing. And then from there, that's when the agency, which is now Stamper Signings, when it went from being local. And then I started building other relationships with law firms, so where it took me to nationwide. So that's how I
Gotcha.
got to this point.
So that's a testament to how this service is needed.
Yep.
Is that it stayed consistent, like you said, all while you were doing different things trying to get money. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Yep.
hustle, you got to get your money. But that one thing, even though it may not have skyrocketed, it stayed consistent throughout up until the pandemic and up until now. So, as a notary, what are the different services you can offer? Because I see apostille, I see loan closings, I see all types of stuff that you can do. So, what are the different services that you can offer as a notary?
Absolutely. You can notarize, like I say, you can do power of attorneys, your general notary work. You can do loan closings, whether you're purchasing, you're selling, refinancing, take out a home like a line of credit. You can do estate plan signings, which is pretty much my specialty. So if anyone that's out there that's setting up an estate plan, typically there's a will, there's a power of attorney, there's a certification of trust, living trust. Those documents tend to be notarized in a pretty much in a complete package. That's what I do. If you don't want to go outside of notarizing documents, you have a service which is called, which you just mentioned, apostilles, and all that is that's just documents that's being certified for international use. So typically those documents typically need to be notarized. If there's, but you'll have some documents that don't need to be notarized; they just need to be apostille. So you just take those documents up to the Secretary of State. Secretary of State to place the stamp on the document. As long as they have the correct professionals certifying those documents, you're all set. And then also fingerprinting. Typically, if especially like for financial services, they got to go through background checks. They got to make sure they're not bringing someone on board that has fraud or has a felony, anything of that nature. They got to be fingerprinted and everything of that nature. That's another service that notaries could provide as well. Weddings. I know a lot of notaries that do weddings. So if you want someone's getting about to get married, they need to have someone perform the ceremony for them, and they need to also have them issue a confidential marriage license. That's another service that they can provide as well. And also, like a lot of us do, like me and you do digital products as well. So it's a lot that the notary business has to offer. It is a matter of just getting into the space, actually getting around the right people that actually offer these services, right? And I think that's what got me off to a slow start, because only thing I knew coming into the business was just notarizing the document and doing loan signings. But once I started surrounding myself with people like Andre Hedger, for example, I went through his notary business school, Notary November. Like that changed my whole perspective on just the notary business in general. So once I went through there,
With that, I
yep.
didn't mean to cut you off, but
No good.
with that, you got to understand. I have a statement and then a question. With that, you got to understand the different niches in notary, in the notary business. Like you said, all the things that you listed, you probably just knew the original. Like, I'm gonna stamp this thing that you need to be stamped and charge you X amount and going about my day. But there's a whole bunch of niches within the notary business and things that people can specialize in. Like you said, I specialize in estate planning. I specialize in weddings. I specialize in apostille, which I just saw you tweet literally 10 minutes ago. You don't even have to be a notary to do the apostille agency service part of it. So my question is, and I know the answer why, but my audience may not know, is why would somebody pay you $70 or however much you charge to do notary services when they can just go to the bank and get it done? They can go to the bank on a Saturday at 3 p.m. and get it done, can't they?
Well, it depends on what document it is, right? So if it's like a power of attorney, any document that holds some type of weight, some type of power, the bank probably won't do it because just for liability reasons, right? So they won't do that. But what pretty much why people will pay that kind of money to get the documents notarized is when they're paying for convenience. Some notaries don't have an office, so they much rather have someone travel to them. They may have a deadline that needs to be met, and they want to make sure this gets taken care of. Where someone who may not have a deadline to meet, and it's just a matter of, well, we can get this document notarized, whatever. You probably could go to the bank, or you probably could go to the UPS. But the issue with that sometimes is some folks that working at work at UPS or work at the bank, they tend not to understand how to make sure these documents are notarized properly, right? Because if they don't know how to understand how the documents are supposed to be notarized, the documents will get rejected. That's going to delay that time and the time it would take to make sure the documents are submitted to the proper authority wherever they're going to, right? So it's better for you're going to pay that money to go to someone where, again, you're paying for the convenience. They know what they're doing. They can come to you. As soon as they get your documents signed and notarized, you can go handle your business. So that's why folks are willing to pay that.
I got two perfect examples of what you're talking about. First one was I have known Andre Hatcher and the whole notary school thing for at least 4 or 5 years now or so.
Yep.
And I needed something notarized about 4 years ago. Needed something to get notarized, and I just looked up the notaries in the area on Google Maps and found somebody, and I had to go to their house to get stuff notarized. You know what I'm saying? He only charged me $15, but I had to go to their house. He had to put his dog up. Oh man, my bad, bro. I got to put my dog up. Got my stuff notarized, and I was just like, all right, whatever. The second instance is when I was buying my house. I was in Maryland at the time, and I was closing on a house out here in Texas, El Paso, Texas. And so I think the notary that the title agency or whatever sent screwed up some documents. They did something wrong, or I think his commission had expired. So they were like, oh, you got to do it all over again. And so I'm like, man, all right. I go to UPS and I'm like, hey, y'all got a notary? They're like, no, we don't have one here, but go to the other UPS on the other side of town and you can get a notary. They had closed, right? Or that notary had left for the day. Like the only person that was able to notarize documents had left for the day. So guess what I did? I was like, I know Andre Hatchett. He talks about this mobile. Let me just look up a mobile notary out here.
Yeah.
I called. First guy didn't answer the phone. Second guy picks up the phone. Hey, what you need? I need this stuff notarized now, right now. Bet, I got you. Dude pulls up. He pulls up in his Impala SS or whatever. Pulls up. Let's go in this restaurant right now, bro. Signs it, stamps it, boom. I cash app him $80. He's on his way. My stuff gets closed. I'm good to go. And I paid for the convenience. Like when the institutions were not able to notarize my documents for me, or when somebody else made a mistake, I paid more money for the convenience and the assurance that somebody would be able to get my shit squared away.
Yep.
So that's why people pay for mobile notaries and that's a testament to being professional in your craft and knowing what to do, as you do these signings and you get paid handsomely for it. So yeah, that's just an example. That's a real life example of what I had to go through.
Yeah, man. And like I said, I mean, you also got people that's in the industry where they don't know what the hell they doing, right? Like you said, like, why would you even, like, for the person who notarized your document, the first one who, like, if you know your commission expired, why would you even take on the signing? Like, that's just like, not only you wasting that person's time, but you're wasting your time. Like, you wasting your time, you wasting that person's time as well to even do something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then also too, you had to do a full redraw of documents. Like most of those loan closings, like most loan packages, or 150 to 200 pages. So you got to not only print out those documents, then you got to do even if it's one mistake made on a couple of pages, that means you got to do a full redraw of those documents, right? So to be in a mobile notary, man, you got to be very mindful of your client's time at the end of the day. Because again, some folks got deadlines they got to meet. Mm-hmm. Like imagine if you purchasing a home, right? How you delaying the process? You delaying the time it takes for me to get my keys to my house. If I'm selling the home, you delaying the time it takes for me to get paid. Yeah. Right. So those are things that you want to keep in mind when you when you get into the notary business. And Yeah, sorry you went through that, but at least you did find someone who was like, you know what, we can get it done. Let's meet here. Boom, boom. We get it over with. You go on about your day, right?
Not
So
going about my day. I was able to get my keys. Well, like I said, I was buying a house, across the country, man. So like
yeah,
stuff had to be right. I'm in the military. I have a specific amount of time that I have to get where I need to go so that things can be done. So that when I pull up to the house that I just bought, not sight unseen, but via
yeah.
FaceTime across the country, I need the keys in my hand so that I can go to sleep that night. And I can't be waiting on no freaking janky ass notary.
Yeah, they out there for sure. Yeah, they out
Yeah.
here, man. Yeah,
So
it's
that
all about
that
working with the right ones.
yeah, that transitions to my next point is that on your Twitter, Stamper Notary, right? At Stamper
Yep.
Notary, your Twitter, right? You talk
Yep.
about the ups and the downs of the notary business, and then the ups and the downs of outsourcing signings to different notaries across either the state or the country. So how do you outsource? And then what are the good things and the bad things that you've dealt with so far in outsourcing your signings?
Yeah, so for me, when it comes to outsourcing assignments, the way I do things are a little different than the typical signing agency. So most signing agencies, they specialize really on the real estate side, right? So you have platforms like SnapDocs, Signing Order, Signing Track. Any notary that's going to be watching this, they're going to be very familiar with those platforms. They may even work with those platforms to get signings, right? Pretty much they use those as notary directories. A notary will sign up, and it's just a matter of you just blasting out assignment and see who's available for that signing. But me, I've been on that other end. I've been on that side to where I know I have access. I've had access to signing order before, and I was actually able to see what notaries were good, what were some notaries that was to stay away from. And when I look on the platform to see what notaries on the platform for me to leverage for my signings, I wasn't too thrilled with what I saw. So from there, I said, you know what? Let me focus on building this organically, and so that way, because with the notary business, it's all about who you know, like, and trust. So if I can trust that you're gonna be professional, you're gonna actually place your stamp in the right areas. If I don't have to have a concerns about if you're going to do a good job or not, that makes it much easier for me to go on about my day.
Yeah.
So I was really intentional about just going on LinkedIn, going on Facebook, leveraging social media to to connect with a lot of notaries, using these workshops that webinars that I do to connect with other notaries as well. And so whenever I get signings, I just add them to my database of who to call whenever I have a signing in that specific area, and I reach out to them directly. I ask them, it's like, hey, I have a state plan signing coming up at this time in your area at this price. Are you able to do it? And they would say, yeah, they're able to do it. And so from there, I was doing it just by phone call, shoot them a quick text. And then I created my own Facebook group, Stamper Community. Shout out to y'all. And whenever I do get a signing that comes up, I pretty much just post that signing in that group. And it's just a matter of whoever makes themselves available or not for that signing. So that's pretty much how I outsource the signings. I get a signing that comes in. I'll negotiate what the price is for that signing. We lock it in the calendar. And then from there, I just tap into either my Stamper Community. If no one in the group responds that they're available, I'll just shoot a quick text or go into my CRM to see what notary serves that specific area. And I just reach out to them to see if they're available. If they are available, from there, I just send over the confirmation. I just send over the contact details to them in regards to what the signing is, what their fee is for the assignment, what instructions, with how the signing needs to be completed. And then once they get once I send that over to them, from there, it's all hands off. The notary is going to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that signing gets taken care of. And then then the notary will confirm with me that the signing has been completed. And then from there, I just make sure the notary gets paid.
There you go.
And ask the client for the review. So it's really just a 5-step process. It's
Yeah.
a 5-step process for it to get done.
That's dope, man. And while we're talking about, I want to bring up the similarities between the paternity testing world and the notary world. So that's one similarity right there, is that in paternity testing, you can outsource just like how you can do notary services. It's for notary services, it seems like it's a little bit more steps, a little bit more, but not so much. So at least with paternity testing, for example, I had somebody call me yesterday who's out in Michigan who wants a pregnancy paternity test. Now, what am I going to do? Am I going to get on a plane and fly all the way to Michigan and draw their blood myself and do all this other stuff? No.
Right.
And she was like, hey, like, how do you do that? Like, I'm in Michigan. The other guy is somewhere in a state in the South. Like, a lot of other companies say they can't do that. And I have that same approach to you. Like I have a set franchise that I like to go with because they have the same standards across the board on how they do collections for me. I call them collections. When I send somebody their way, they collect their samples for me and they send it off to the laboratory to be tested. All right. And I think I asked you that question about it before. Like, is there like a notary kind of franchise that has like?
Yeah, you did ask me that.
Yeah, I did ask you that. So it's almost the same. It's almost the same thing. I have it to where I reach out to franchise or where she's at, and then where the alleged father's at. I know paternity testing companies there already on a first name basis. One of them was my very first student. The other one is a mentor to me. So all I gotta do is pick up the phone. Hey, I got this, I got that. Woo. Send them the information. Send them the time they want to come in, and I make sure both of them are paid. Hey, send me an invoice for your service. Send me an invoice, or I'll just shoot you some quick cash or whatever. And that's how I outsource as well. And I track everything. I have a Rolodex of everybody that I contact. So it's some similarities with that. Now, I could talk about similarities in the bad when outsourcing too. So you've outsourced some loan signings, I think. You talk about it, like I said, I love your Twitter because you're very transparent. You talk about the good and the bad. So tell me about a time where you outsourced something and it's been screwed up and you had to kind of fall on the sword a little bit or be like, hey, I'm sorry, let's get this fixed.
Yeah, that comes with the territory. You're definitely gonna have some ups and downs in the business. Like you said, you could be on the road, just like, man, I'm getting these signings in and out, but you always gonna come across that one where it's like a complete headache, right? It's always gonna be that one, right? So I've had a couple of instances. I've had a few instances just working with notaries. So I was just like what are you doing, right? So for instance, one of my early experiences when I first started the agency, I had a client who was actually selling a home. He needed to get these documents signed, get it notarized. I'm talking to him. We had a great conversation, right? I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be a pretty easy one here. We just need to get this done, and we're on our way. So I'll make sure I have the notary available for you or whatnot, right? So I ended up calling a notary. She was able to do it. She goes to I end up hiring her for the signing, right? And so she ends up texting me that day, the day of the signing. She was like, oh, we weren't able to get doc signed. They didn't have the right documents or whatnot. I was like, all right, well, that happens. If you're not able to get doc signed because the title company had the documents right, then hey, we just have to go back and make sure we get it taken care of. 2 days later, the signer who I spoke with a few days prior, I was like, yeah, I wanted to give you a call. We weren't able to get the document signed. That notary that came to my house, that notary was horrible. I was like floored. I was like, Keith, would you, further, can you go, elaborate on what happened? He's like, one, the notary, she showed up to my house in Uggs. She wasn't dressed professionally. She had a sweatsuit on. She was very rude to my wife. And then she ended up calling the title company and just did a bunch of things that she wasn't supposed to do. And I was like, it took me a lot not to like cuss her out, because how do you come into my home and you're just rude, and not only rude to me, but you're rude to my wife out of all people. So I was just like floored away from that because I never dealt with nothing like that. Because when you're in business, it's all about providing excellent customer service, being punctual, things of that nature. Because man, it's so hard to build relationships in business. It's like the most difficult thing you can do. So you always on edge. You just want to make sure things are done in the proper manner, right? And also, another thing I want to add in, like whoever you are hiring, they're a reflection of your agency. They're a reflection of who you are, because they can be talking to you on the phone, but they're the person who they're going to see. They're actually going to be the first person that they see during this process, right? So she just completely did a horrible job. I ended up refunding the guy his money because at the end of the day, I'm not going to take your money if we did such a horrible job. I just stand on principle at the end of the day. So I ended up refunding the guy his money back. And we ended up getting another notary who actually, did find another notary to get the job done, right? Another instance was I had another notary who did a loan closing, which is why I don't really do loan closes anymore. Anyway, a lot of my tweets come from the loan closings, right?
I've been seeing that. Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Estate plan signings, I rarely have any issues, but with the loan closings, it was always a problem, right? So I had a gentleman who was doing a loan closing last minute. He was able to help out at the last minute, And when I talked to him, it's like, man, I'm looking at his profile, he's saying all the right things. And I'm talking to him, it's like, okay, this sounds like a good guy who we can get done at the last minute. He goes to the signing, he gets everything taken care of. A couple of days later, title company is like, hey, I'm missing 2 sets of documents, and these documents are done wrong. I'm like, what? I said, excuse me? He's like, yeah. She was like, I'm missing 2 sets of documents, and these documents are completely done wrong. They're not in order, and the loan is supposed to fund today. It's like, wow, okay. So I end up asking the guy, I was like, hey, we just got word from title that these documents weren't in order and they're missing a complete set of documents. Would you happen to have them? Because sometimes, you may have got the document signed, but you may not have, drop all the documents off at FedEx. You may have took them with you by accident, right? Come to find out, he didn't even print out the documents.
Oh no.
He didn't print out the 2 sets of documents. His excuse was, oh, in the midst of all the emails, blah, blah, blah. I was like, damn, man. Damn. So in that instance, I was like pissed. Not gonna lie, I was kind of pissed. I was like, how do you not review? I get a ton of emails that come in, but for me, I always make sure to double or triple check to make sure that, okay, do I have everything that I need to make sure this thing goes smoothly? And yeah, he missed out a whole 2 sets of documents, had the documents all in order, weren't even in order. So thank God the title company was still going to work with me. We ended up getting another notary for that signing. And I ended up actually being the one to get it done, as a matter of fact. So I say that to say, it's always going to be one where they may not, they may be forgetful. They may forget a set of documents, or they may not show up. They may not be professional or anything of that nature. So when instances like that, that's why I'm really big on building the relationships, really working with people who I know. Because if I have a relationship with you, I know you're not gonna make me look bad. Because at the end of the day, we in coordination. We got a partnership here. If I got the clients, I'm gonna make sure you get the business at the end of the day, right? So I always try to keep that in mind. Just working with people who I know that's gonna do a great job. They're very professional. They're not gonna miss anything. And so those are the situations that I've been through. Shit, I got a couple more I could really talk about.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, like I said, similarities between the businesses, and then I'll segue into the next part is I had a client. This is while I'm in the Bahamas, by the way. Another testament to outsourcing is that in both businesses, at least what it appears to me, is all you need is a cell phone, pretty much. A cell phone and just being able
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's about it. And so this is while I'm in the Bahamas on my honeymoon, and I had a client who I outsourced and sent to a collection facility out in Texas to get their samples taken for a legal paternity test. And for a legal court admissible paternity test, there's a specific set of paperwork that has to be done called the chain of custody. That makes it a court admissible test. That means it can be used in court for child support court or child custody or whatever, right? Any type of legal purposes. So I let the collection facility know that, hey, this is a legal test. Oh, I got a dog bark. What's up, doggy? This is a legal test. All right. And so here's the case number. Here's everything that makes it a legal test. All right. I send the clients to them. All right. They get their samples taken, and then the samples get to the laboratory, and then I know how it looks when a lab receives the samples. It's supposed to be a certain way to make it a legal test. I was like, wait a minute, this is missing some documentation. Where is the chain of custody at? I don't see any of that stuff in the portal. I call her and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, it's supposed to be a legal test. She's like, oh yeah, the kit that you provided, one of them, the kit that I used didn't have the paperwork for a legal test. So I just went ahead and just did a non-legal test so it won't be court admissible. And I'm like, you didn't think to call me or say, hey, Royal, this kit does not have the paperwork in it. So can you please email me I could have done that easily. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or they do DNA tests all the time. All they have to do is just go on the portal and download the paperwork. If they like, wait a minute, this is a legal test. So he can just, whatever. Anyway, long story short, they had to get their samples recollected. And I stopped using that collection facility I immediately cut ties, stopped using them. and just started sending them to another franchise. Like I said, they're a franchise. So they have their SOPs, which leads into my next segment. They have their SOPs all set up. So where no matter where I call, anywhere in the United States, they got the exact same process every single time. And I have not had a single problem with any of those franchises across the US. So my next part is about in the service-based business. The word service is there. It's customer service, operations. Operations is the focal point of how you run your business. All right. So, very quick example. I called a plumber over to my house yesterday. I've been in contact with him throughout the week to work on a couple of things for my house. And dude is incredibly skilled, but I can tell that he is a one-man operation and he does everything. He doesn't outsource a single thing. He answers all the phones. He answers all the texts. He does all the jobs all across the city because he came to my house, was able to knock out one task and then wasn't able to knock out the second task because he had to go get a tool, which is understandable. Like, all right, he's like, hey, the tool is at my house. I gotta go get it. All right, cool. I want to go to the gym or get a haircut anyway. Cool, fine. He was like, I'll come back at 2:30, 3 o'clock. All right, cool, fair. 3 o'clock comes. Hey man, can I come at 5:30? Like, man, all right. 5:30 comes. He doesn't say anything. I hit him up at 6. He's like, hey man, can I come tomorrow? And I know, and I'm like, all right, man, like I paid you this money, but I can tell that you are running the whole thing completely by yourself. Completely by yourself. You have nobody to answer your phone. It's just you. You're running all over the city doing all these jobs. And I was like, when do you stop working? He was like, when I get the last call. No, you don't have a cutoff time, nothing, So I'm like, he could probably make it a lot more money if he outsources certain things, certain tasks. So, in your business, do you outsource certain tasks at the moment, or do you see yourself outsourcing certain tasks so that you can worry about strategy?
Yeah, man, it took me a while to get to this point because I was one of those kind of people where it's like, oh, I can do it myself. I'm one of those kind of people who's like, yeah, I'm gonna do everything myself, right? But the time it takes to try to do everything by yourself, like there's specific tasks where you may need to spend 2 to 3 hours on that specific task, right? If I'm spending 2 to 3 hours on a specific task, that's taking time for me to focus on strategy. That's taking time away from me, like creating a new product or creating some type of new service, right? So yeah, I'm definitely got to a space where it's like, okay, I need to delegate. I'm outsourced. I'm delegating everything, and it didn't register to me until I started this agency, right? And so when I was working as a mobile notary, just independently, like I was making some good money doing it. But ever since I started doing the agency, I started to make more. I started to make more, and it didn't make sense because I'm making more, but I'm doing less. That it just didn't quite register. So when I started to see how that started to work, I was like, okay, I need to start doing more outsourcing. What else can I outsource, right? And I just right now, I just in the process of hiring a virtual assistant so I can delegate the admin tasks, scheduling the appointments, finding that time to hire notaries. Because I want to be able to focus specifically on the marketing side, because the more marketing I'm doing, that means the more business, the more income that we're bringing into the business. So yeah, it's hard to run to be a one-man show. Like, I mean, nowadays, like we said, we have the software, we have the apps that we can leverage we can be a one-man operation, but it's only so far you can really go, right? Because if, like I said, I know you for sure, but I have aspirations of building $1 million company. And that's not going to happen it's not going to happen by yourself, right? So you have to bring on, like say, a virtual assistant. Yeah, go ahead.
Clients can tell when you're a one-man show.
Yeah,
they can tell.
Absolutely.
They know. Like I said, I can tell, like, dude answers all the calls, does all the texts, does all the jobs, does all the everything. Like, and it's like, all right, that's cool. If you only want to hit you're going to plateau at some point in time if you do everything. Like I said, in my business, I'm basically in the process of hiring a virtual assistant. I have to, because my wife is now back at work. When we did our podcast, when I came on your podcast a few months ago, my wife was answering all the calls because she was not working at the time. Now she is back working. So guess what? She can't answer every single call because she's working from home. and it has to be on certain calls and stuff like that. So now, like, what am I going to do? Not answer the phone when 99.9% of all leads that I get are via phone. Like they don't just buy a paternity test or order $1,600-$1,700 paternity test just online without talking to nobody. No, they want to talk to someone.
Right.
So I have to outsource that. I have to have a virtual assistant. They have to be bilingual to be able to answer all of my calls. Like I can't answer the phones. I'm at work. I'm in the military. I can't just duck out of a meeting with my commander. Hey man, I gotta answer this business phone call.
Right.
I can't do that. Like I cannot do that. So
that's
yeah,
some point you're supposed to eliminate yourself in like, I mean,
yes.
But I just wanted to just like add this, like as business owners, we have to be able to eliminate, that's the goal, is to be able to eliminate ourselves from the business. Right. It's so many, like I said, departments with like Tim Cook on the phone, right? He's not marketing, he's not doing all these things. Like there's a reason why they have specific departments in place so things can get done, right? Because when we can add more people onto staff or bring people onto the team, that helps us be able to grow much faster and be able to scale faster as well. So
I think an example of that is like I said, my mom, and I told her years ago, I'm like, mom, she owns a DNA testing company too. And I told her years ago, I'm like, hey, you want to step back and out of the business and start outsourcing things. But, she's like, I got it. And things have been getting better for her, but she does everything. And so if she's sick or if she's on vacation or something like that, she's either answering the phone calls on vacation or she doesn't answer the phone calls, which affects her business. And so I've been telling her like, hey, you got to get a virtual receptionist to at least answer your calls. But I think, she is such in love with the business, in love with the craft of the business, that she still wants to answer all the calls. And it'll like, she is doing pretty well in business. Like for herself, she's doing pretty good, but I know she could do better if she lets somebody take the bulk of that so she can focus on relationships and strategy and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna show you by example. It's cool. It's one thing for me to tell you what you should be doing by theory, but it's another thing for me to show you, like, look, I don't even answer the calls, and I still made 20 bands this month. You can do the same thing. I know she can. For a fact because she's one of the best paternity testing consultants in the country. I know that for a fact. But and shout
out to Miles, man.
What's up?
Shout out to Miles, man.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, dude, she knows her stuff. And I it's funny on this journey, what I've noticed when I start networking with other paternity testing consultants that have far more years of experience than I do. I noticed the thing that they have in common, except for one of them, except for my direct mentor. The thing that a lot of them have in common is that they work in their business. They don't work on their business. They do everything themselves. Like one of the ladies, she does everything herself, everything. And I'm like, that's because as you can, but you won't surpass a certain level. So I'm like, all right, outside of the franchises, who obviously they have their whole operations thing, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show them that you can make 50 bands a month doing this, and all I do is just maybe send a couple of emails a month or something like that, or strategize with court systems. So, Rafaniel, man, I say all that to say thank you for coming. There's similarities and some differences, but overall, we're under the umbrella of service-based businesses.
Facts.
If you're a service-based business, you have to have your operations, you have to outsource, etc. So, give the people some game about your community, man, about your course. What do you have to offer for that?
Yeah, man. Again, appreciate you for having me on, brother. The community, Stamper community. So pretty much what that is, it's a community of notaries that pretty much who I go to for signings that we may have available in the area, right? So again, we are nationwide. I have signings literally all throughout the nation on a weekly basis. And I'm always looking for notaries to work with, right? So I know there's a lot of notaries out there that the loan closing game is kind of slowing down in a sense because the interest rates have been creeping up, right? But for me, our agency in particular, we do a lot of estate plan signings. So I was just reading a stat not too long ago that 67% of Americans do not have an estate plan set up. So that means this market is wide open. It's ripe for opportunity. And we always try to open up those doors for other notaries so they continue to get new business coming in. So It's on Facebook. If you see this, go to Facebook, type in Stamper Community. If you're a notary, all we ask is your email and your phone number so we can get in contact with you in case you do have a signing, and we'll have you in there. Also, we have Stamping Academy. Stamping Academy is on the forefront of the notary educational space. We show you how to outsource signings. We show you how to book loan closings. We show you how to market and perform estate plan signings. If you want to create your own digital product and whatever niche that you offer in the notary game, we'll show you how to do the same as well. It's a great academy to be a part of. I started this academy, I want to say the top of the year.
Yeah.
I want to say we started the academy at the top of the year. I already had 5 students that came through there, already outsourcing their own assignments. They booking their own clients. And it's just dope to see that, this is something that I just like stumbled upon really on the estate plan side, and then outsourcing these signings is now seeing other notaries that's doing the same for themselves. Because, a lot of notaries, they mainly work with signing services only. Like they don't know how to book their own clients. They pretty much got to rely on the signing service to get them clients. So to be able to go through the academy and learn how to position themselves to build their own book of business and be in control of their price points and be able to dictate what they get paid or whatnot for the signing, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling, man, to see. So tap in, www.stampingacademy.io, join in. You're also going to have me with you along the way as well. So you're not going to be in this journey by yourself.
Kind of a little bit. I'm gonna drink some water. I know it's not professional to drink water on the podcast, but it's my show. A little bit of a tangent about digital products and courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The really dope thing in the past couple of years is how there's different platforms that allow us to upload our digital products and sell them, and essentially make money in our sleep. You create a product. You create some intellectual property, get people access to this product. You upload it to a platform. They can buy it from there. It's so dope because I don't know, man. How old are you, man? Are you like in your 30s? You're like 30 something? What old are you?
31.
Oh, we're the same age. When's your birthday?
September 27th.
Oh, dope. Okay, so you're a little bit younger than me. I'm 31. I'm January 6th, right? I think 31. Yeah. All right. So anyway.
Brain fart for a moment.
Yeah. Senior moment. So when you were younger, you remember seeing the commercials or infomercials at night where it's like, hey, I'm the dude with the question marks all over me with the suit on. Buy my real estate course, and you can order it by calling this number. And we'll ship you a VHS cassette tape with all this stuff. And I'm like,
infomercials all day.
And it's crazy because there is now, as of maybe the past 5 or so years ish or something like that, 5-6 years, is you can build your own library of digital products now and just host them either on your own platform that you create or a platform like Gumroad, or put them straight on a couple of other course platforms, and essentially sell your knowledge and almost even your access to, and build your own university or academy. You know what I mean? It's kind of a tangent, man. It's just so dope, a testament to that, man. Like, look, tell me how you feel about having that stream of income too.
Oh man, it's been a blessing, man. It's been a blessing because I've had days where I may not have had a signing to outsource or do any signings for me to perform, but because I recorded a program 2-3 months ago and only did it one time, I'm still able to monetize and still be able to get paid off of that as well. So it's dope, man. Because I will always see like other entrepreneurs, whether they're on social media and Twitter, and I used to see them promoting their stuff, and I used to be like, damn, like how can I get into that space, right? I just never knew how to get into it, but once I was able to figure out how to actually do this and how simple it was. I mean, the very first course that I recorded, man, I was in my son's room. He was at school. And I just sat in a little corner, had my laptop, had a ring light, press record on Zoom. I said, let's do that. And
That's exactly
I've still been able to
it.
make money off of that to this day, man.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. Is that like a lot of people, now here's the thing, man. What I don't like about the course world is that some people create courses and they have absolutely no knowledge of what the hell they're talking about. And they just put out a course because they're just trying to make money. All right. I don't respect that. Now, what I had to deal with was when I started my DNA testing, I was like, all right, I might create a course one day, maybe in 5 years after I'm making $1 million a year off of this thing.
Mhm.
Well, no, you don't have to do that. If you have a solid working knowledge of
Yeah.
how to get, even if if you've made two, three, $4,000 a month doing something consistently, or you just know how to do it, you can at least help guide someone who has no idea how to do anything and they don't know how to access an information. Don't feel bad. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, you know what I'm saying? A little bit, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I know something that a lot of people, most people in the country have no idea how to get into whatsoever. Let me go ahead and pack it. And like you said, perfectly right, man. I recorded my course in my bedroom with the door closed, made sure my cat was out the doggone room,
Yeah.
turned on the webcam, had my mic, did it, made some little slides, recorded it. It don't have to be fancy. You
No, it
don't have
doesn't.
to be fancy. You don't have
No.
to hire a freaking videographer for $2,000 to hold. No. Get the information out as succinct as possible and make sure people can understand it.
And that's the most important piece is the information. And people can tell, if you know what you're talking about. It's going to come across if you don't know what the hell you're talking about. If you're
Yeah.
just giving a lot of fluff, like if you're not giving, like me, I try to be very, very specific, straight to the point, very detailed on how to perform a specific service, on how to market that service, the benefits of providing the service, and incorporating stories into that. And I think that's what's been able to. I think that though being able to package that has been able to resonate with notaries that came through the program, right? So yeah, man, it's like I say, you don't have to make $1 million a year in order for you to package this up and and put it into the market. Because, and I think all of us can do it. Like I said, I mean, the people that actually, whatever knowledge that you do have and you actually do what you're teaching, it's very doable for you to do it. Like I said, it's a matter of folks just actually having the confidence in themselves and just put it out there.
Yeah.
Right. So
The
I
way
love
the
it.
way that I see a lot of the way that I can see things going is, you have your business, right? And you operate your business. Then if you want to, you create your course or your digital product that shows people how to do it too, or gives people the SOPs or whatever, something to help them either get into the business or operationalize their business, right? Or
Yeah.
how to outsource it or something, right? Then on top of that, if you choose to, you can create a software to help those same people that bought your course or people outside your course operationalize or streamline their business too in your industry, which is what I'm doing. I think you were expressing
Next
interest in
level.
the same
That's
thing.
the next level right there. And I'm
Yeah.
loving what you're doing with Gray Helix. I'm
Yeah.
loving what you're doing with that. So that's the next level where I'm trying to. I still go back and forth. It's like
Yeah.
what kind of ideas. I know the execution part of how to do it. It's just a matter of okay, what can I actually put together that's actually going to make sense, for my for notaries. But
And here's the
that's the
thing,
next
man.
level.
It don't even have to be an all-encompassing thing that touches everything in the notary industry. If you can figure out how to make one process of the notary business efficient using a software, it'll be called a micro SaaS,
Yeah.
micro software as a service. If you can make one thing efficient in the notary business and make a software around it and say, this software does this thing. You don't got to change the whole notary world, man, with your software. You don't have to do everything. One software that makes one thing efficient. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. What if you created a software that allows, I don't know if the other notary softwares do this. All right. So correct me if I'm wrong. What if you created a software that allows notaries to input other notaries in the system and rate them themselves? Like, hey, instead of whoever operates this notary directory, instead of the people at the top inputting the people, what if other notaries could input other notaries and say, yeah, I work with this guy. He's cool. You can leave your own review. And you just have the software that allows people to do that. I don't know. Maybe does something like that exist already? I have no idea.
Like it's like a review system where notaries can leave reviews for each other.
Yep.
And they kind of vouching for each other, right?
Yep.
It's like a almost like a peer system in a way, like a peer-to-peer system.
A peer-to-peer reviewing system for notaries specifically, where you can say, yeah, this is this guy's information. This is my review of him. And it holds everybody accountable. Because if you know that peer-to-peer system exists, you're gonna be like, well, damn, I don't want to be in the bad side of that one, because it'll be fully transparent. It's a democratic peer-to-peer review notary system. There's your SaaS right there.
Yeah, we gonna talk about that one. We'll talk about that one. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's like I said, that's like the next level. Like I've been wrapping my head around it because I'm like right now I'm currently working on an app. It's like a no-code app that I've been using, just been playing around with it, just trying to figure out like because the whole thing I just been trying to figure out like, okay, I know I can actually do this, right? I've been trying to figure out, okay, what's the product market fit? Like I've been trying to figure out that product market fit, man. So been racking my brain around it, but I know as soon as I like to put it, like, because I know as soon as I figure this thing out, man,
you got it.
Out. I'm putting it out, man.
These service industries are ripe for change.
Yes, especially the notary business.
Yeah, exactly. Like us millennials and Gen Z are gonna bring new tech into these industries that are ran by the older generations, and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's fine, but we're bringing in new ideas, new tech, new ways of streamlining things that other people would pay for. You know what I mean? On a subscription basis. So yeah, man. Well, you know what? I appreciate you, Rafaniel, for coming on, man. Like I always like talking to you, man. I like talking to brothers who are level-headed and have the same level of ambition as I do. And I like to get game from you and from other brothers in different industries on how I can better run my business. And we all like to get game from each other. So where can the folks find you, man? Where can the people find you?
Man, the feeling is mutual, man. You know, it's always, yeah, even if we conversate on Twitter, man, it's always been positive and, you know, great conversations, man. I don't take these conversations for granted because I wasn't having these kind of conversations years ago, man. So I try to soak it all in, man.
Yeah, big fact.
As far as y'all can find me, I'm always on social media. Check me out on IG, Rafaniel, Rafanyo. You can also check me out on my other page, Stamper Notary. Twitter, Stamper Notary as well. Check me out on TikTok. I don't do any dancing videos and nothing like that. So
you don't be dancing, man. You gotta.
Nah,
I don't do that dancing shit either.
Nah, we ain't doing none of that, man. It looks fly, but I ain't doing that, right? Yeah, TikTok at Stamper Digital. I'm on YouTube as well, Stamper Digital as well. What else we got, man? Yeah, just check us out. If you ever need a notary as well, go to www.stampersignings.com. If you need a power of attorney, you need a estate plan, real estate documents, anything that you need to be notarized, we have over 300 notaries that we use all across the country, and I can find one for you or have one available to you at a moment's notice. So check us out, y'all, www.stampersignings.com, and that's where you can find us.
Dope. Y'all, this is the first person outside of the Paternity University course that I have interviewed and brought on, and that lets you know that I have faith and trust in this brother, even though I've never physically met him. The way he operates, he stands on his square and operates a certain way on the level and with good intention. So, you know, my stamp of approval on you, brother, for doing good things, man, and operating in integrity. So thank you, man. Y'all can find me. I'm Royal Skegee on Twitter, ROYAL SKEGEE. You can also go to paternityuniversity.com if you want to learn how to make income in the DNA paternity testing industry. Check out greyhelix.io. Check out assurancedna.com if you're in need of a paternity test yourself, or you know somebody who needs a paternity test. We can do a paternity test anywhere in the country for you, no matter where you are. Thank you for tuning in. Rafaniel, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you more, bro.
All right, man. Thank you. All right.